Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi and welcome to the podcast. I hope you're well. It's been quite a week. I've had a super busy week doing some bookshop events and a really special night in Brighton. That was great fun. And the Wantage Literary Festival. Thank you so much to those of you who came along. A few podcast listeners, sober coaches. Really lovely to see people who kind of know the stuff I'm doing now, you know, as well as people who, you know, from my dim and distant past, or people who just want to remember the 80s and the 90s. It's been really good fun. Hope you can make it to one of the events. And one of the literary festival in Wantage, I did all the usual stuff and spoke about my days as a backing singer, working with various artists, and of course Wham on all their tours, and then my move into pop music with 7 Ways to Love, and then my stuff at Virgin Radio, and then the Radio 2, and we did all that stuff. And then towards the end, I spoke a little bit about some of the work I do now and my move into the woo-woo, and hence the woo of the title, and the more spiritual stuff, and the Sober Club. I just kind of touched on that. And afterwards, when I was signing books, when I kind of finished, a woman came up to me and she kind of moved me aside and said, actually, I'm just really interested in your Sober Club. And I remember thinking, oh, this was exactly how the Sober Club first started all those years ago when I did my TEDx talk. And I'd completely forgotten that there was going to be an audience in the room. I was kind of thinking of the camera. And when we took a break after my talk, that's the first talk, Sobriety Rocks, Who Knew? A woman had taken me aside there and said, you know, I swear you were talking about me there. That was, you described my life, and I really, really need some support and really need some help. And that was when I decided to do the Sober Club. Anyway, so on this event, she kind of took me aside and said, oh, tell me about the Sober Club. So I launched into a explanation of how the Sober Club works and all the amazing resources and how it's completely non-judgmental, and she would feel totally supported, and we're cheerleaders for each other, and it's quite small. And I went through all of this stuff, and then she went, oh, well, I run a women's group. Would you be interested in coming and giving a talk? Yeah, okay. That works too. Anyways, you never know, do you, though? You never know who you're going to meet. You never know where the little ripples of light might shine when we're spreading them. And don't ever underestimate it. You know, I've got Sober Club members who tell me that they meet up with someone they maybe haven't seen for a while, and that person will tell them, oh, because I met up with you, or because I saw you at that event, you kind of inspired me. I didn't even tell you at the time, but you inspired me, and now I'm quitting the booze, or I'm reducing my drinking, or whatever. So we just never know the impact that we might make on other people. The other thing that I want to tell you about before I share details of this week's guest is our Family Constellations Day is hopefully still going ahead. It's a difficult one to fill constellations, I can't lie, because people don't often know what it's about, and when they come, it's so amazing. But getting people to actually come along can be really quite hard. So just check it out, have a look, and come with an open mind. You're always welcome to message me, and I'll try to give you some more information. But it really is a very special, profound kind of day. And people tend to leave feeling more compassionate and open-hearted, and with a different perspective and more positive. And it's just magical work. It really is. So if you have read my new book, I talk a little bit in the book about how family constellations completely changed around my relationship with my own mother, and in turn, therefore, you know, my kids. So I'm incredibly grateful, you know, for that work. So Sunday, 24th of November is our next workshop. I work with a leading trauma expert, and the day runs from about 10 till about 4. It's in Hertfordshire. It's kind of just off the M25 junction 20 or if you're coming by train, it's about 25 minutes from London Euston. So it'd be amazing to see you if you're feeling brave enough to step out of your comfort zone and come along, try Family Constellations. It'd be great to see you. Obviously, I'd love to see you on one of the bookshop dates. Got a whole bunch coming up. Going to be in Royston on Tuesday, York on Thursday. So excited to be in York. Can't wait. I love York. Going to be there on Thursday night, and then the weekend, next weekend, it's the Louder Than Words Festival in Manchester. And then after that, I'm going on to Rugby and Daventry and, in fact, in Daventry, we've got, I'm doing an event which is a kind of a sober curious kind of evening, all about health and well-being, where we're going to bring in the sobriety piece, but also talk about all my recommendations for holistic living. So that's going to be an interesting one. That'd be great to see you at that. And there's also an event at the Suddenly Bookshop. And then I'm also doing Birmingham and I'm trying to think where else, Milton Keynes and Swansea. I think that might be it for a while. And then into January, we've just put in place a night in Andover at a really lovely theatre called The Lights. So that's an evening with Janey Lee Grace in Andover. That sounds very swish, doesn't it? But I really hope you'll come. It's January the 10th. So all of those dates, you'll find all of that information for all of them. If you go to janeyleegrace.com and you'll see the little picture of the book there. So just click there. Or you can go to thesoberclub.com, click on events, and they're all there as well. And of course, I have to tell you that you must come on December the 2nd to our Christmas do mental well-being special at Club Soda in London. I'm really excited. It's going to be a really, really nice evening. It's going to be kind of Christmassy, and I'm going to do a little bit about the book, but it's also going to be around mental health and well-being. And Sam Delaney, author of Sort Your Head Out, Mental Health Without the Bollocks, is my guest. There'll be other special guests popping up as well. And your ticket includes a lovely little well-being goodie bag. So try and come if you can. If you've not been to anything like that before and you're thinking, I'd love to go, but I just feel too nervous, please don't feel nervous. Drop me a line, just message me, and someone will meet you. I promise, someone will come and meet you and make sure that you're okay. I was nervous the first time I went to a sober event. I remember kind of parking my car and walking around the car park and trying to decide whether I was brave enough to go in. I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, really, everyone was completely lovely and completely normal and fine. So I really don't know what I was scared of. But I suppose it is new when you no longer are kind of hiding behind that mask that's alcohol. It's new, isn't it, really? Anyways, so I've given you a whole bunch of dates, sent you to janeyleegrace.com to look at the dates, or thesoberclub.com, whichever you like. I really hope you'll be able to come to one of them. Connection is just amazing. I do appreciate we've got lots of listeners who are not in the UK, and it's not possible. So thank you for just bearing with us while we share this with some of the people who are able to come. But of course, the Sober Club is for everyone, and you can join us. And there's a whole load of stuff going on online. We had a really nice meetup last week. It's very special to connect, even online. I do believe that. I do believe that we're very fortunate that, there's that saying, isn't there, that we become like similar to, or whatever the expression is, the five people we spend most of our time with, or the sum of the parts, as it were. And depending on how you spend a lot of your time, that can feel a bit scary, because maybe you don't have an awful lot of say over the people that you're with a lot of the time, but you do have a say where you spend, your energy and your time, perhaps when you're not at work. And just by connecting with people online, I think it can really make a difference when they know you've got their back, and vice versa. That's really the key. My guest is Lynn Dewar, who is a Sober Club member, and I'm trying to remember how long ago it was I met you, Lynn. Was it a
It was almost a year ago, actually. It was at Champneys
Yes,
last
that's
year.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of November, end of October?
Something like that, exactly, yeah. So I just thought it would be so lovely to invite you on the podcast for you to share a bit of your story, which obviously I've seen your transformation, and oh man, do I wish I'd videoed it. You probably wouldn't have let me. But
No, I might have done. I
oh,
just didn't believe it was going to happen at the
I
beginning,
know, but if we could have had a video camera, Lynn, of when you rocked up to Champneys and some of the things you were saying and the way you felt about yourself, and now it's just so amazing. And I just thought it's so inspirational. And I think you said to me, "Oh, there's nothing special about me." There so is, sweetheart. There so is. So, do you mind taking us right back? I hate to bring you down, but let me just take you back to when things weren't so good. Will you just share a bit of what was going on for you?
yeah, okay. Well, I guess for some time I had been thinking that I was drinking too much too often, like every day, and that there were lots of reasons that was a bad thing. And I was feeling, I'm 72 now. I guess this was last year when I was 71. I remember saying to my husband lots of times that I was beginning to feel my age.
Mm,
And so I decided, now this is before I met you, probably 6 months before I met you, I signed up with a friend who runs fitness classes and mindfulness classes. So we did an online for 3 months on wellness.
mm,
And it was great, except although we focused on diet and exercise and all those good things, I didn't lose any weight at all. And towards the end of that 3 months, I think it was actually four because there was summer holidays in the middle, I said to her that I realized that I wasn't going to make any progress without giving up alcohol.
mm,
At least for a while is what I said at that time. And I also said I didn't think I could do it on my own. I needed some kind of support. And so she went away and thought about that. And funnily enough, she came across the Champneys weekend. I don't know where, but she's in your line of world, so I guess she found it somewhere online. And I decided as well that I would go and have a full medical, private medical at the Nuffield. So, first of all, I think yes, I had the medical by the time I came to Champneys. And the doctor didn't pull her punches. I was drinking too much. I was overweight. I had all sorts of issues that she wanted to get checked through blood tests and blah, blah, blah. And I think by the time I saw you, I had started titrating down, reducing the number of drinks I had each day. And you kept saying, well, please, won't you all at least commit for 30 days, etc., etc. So I then signed up for one-on-one with you over the phone over the course of however many weeks it is that we did that for Janey. And I got to the end of my 30 days at the very beginning of January this year, and I decided that actually, why not carry on for 3 months? Because you kept persuading me to do that. And I was beginning to lose weight. And then at the end of January, I had a blood test, and the results came through that I was pre-diabetic. And I did a lot of reading around that and decided that I should stay off the alcohol for longer than the 30 days. I think by that point, I just said, okay, I'll do it till the end of Lent, which I think was the end of March this year. But I also started investigating changing my diet. And I was eating quite healthily, but having toast and butter for breakfast every day and, various things like that I was also able to cut out. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I lost weight slowly but steadily, and I am now 3 stone lighter than I was a year ago, and I've completely smashed the pre-diabetes into the long grass. I'm miles away from it now. And that, in a nutshell, is my story.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing because I think, if I remember rightly, you had, there were several sort of health conditions rearing their ugly head, weren't there, when you were at Champneys?
I needed a hip replacement,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So you were struggling. But I think above all, it's fair to say that your mindset was, you were quite low mood, quite anxious. And your mindset at that point, was such that, you were, I think it's fair to, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels to me as though at the beginning of that weekend, you were feeling quite negative. Understandably, you had a lot of health challenges and things felt very negative for you. but we managed to somehow unlock something. And it feels to me as though a little light bulb was able to go on where you suddenly were able to see that the key to everything was actually the alcohol piece.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, no, that is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reluctantly,
Yeah,
I
reluctantly.
saw
Yeah.
that.
I know, because this is the thing, you see, and this is why your stories, it's so great to share, because so many people, me included, for years I was focused on, oh, I just want to look better. I just want to lose weight. I just want to look younger. I just want to not have this, not have that, not go, whatever the hell it was. But when we recognize, actually, take the alcohol away, and from that place, we can start to be who we really are. And from that place of starting to like yourself, which is the key bit that underpins it all, then all the other pieces, whatever they may be, we can work on them then with much more resilience. It's not a magic pill, but it gives you so much more resilience and self-awareness. And I think that was the thing that changed. It was almost as though you were in self-destruct mode before. You were very negative about yourself, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I mean, not in terms of, mental acuity and work and stuff. I wasn't negative about that, but in terms of my body and my health, yes.
Yes, exactly. But that's everything, isn't it? Your mindset's everything.
Yeah. Sorry, just closing the door.
That's all right. So what was interesting as well then, Lynn, is that we did our one-to-one coaching,
Yeah.
and you sort of, you were a good student in inverted commas, a good coachee, because you took on board everything that was recommended and really committed to it. But I think when, from the impression I got, when you were willing to accept that you needed some connection as well, I think that also helped make a difference. Am I right about that? When you joined us in the Sober Club and you started to share a few bits and pieces, which I think you were probably reluctant to do at the beginning as well.
Slow burn, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fair.
how did that help you, being able to sort of read about other people in a similar situation and perhaps even contribute?
I don't know. I think it's just having that window into other people in the same situation every day, because I look at Facebook every morning, and there are people posting every day, and I do still find that a very useful part of my day. I think it would be easy to drift away actually without that connection.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, you're a very valued member, because the things that you share are very relevant for other people who may be behind you, as it were. So that's the beauty of it. Tell us a bit more about the impact on your life then. Now, how many
Okay.
how many months sober are you now then?
It's 11,
11 months. Fantastic.
11
So
months to
how
the day.
amazing.
Yeah.
So if I remember rightly, when we were doing our coaching work, like so many other people, you were kind of, as much as anything, drinking was very much a habit for you, and you were reaching for a
Yeah.
drink at a certain time in the day. That's what you did. That was part of the habit, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
how has
Yeah.
your life changed? What have you put in place now to fill that time? Because when you stop drinking, it frees up time, doesn't it?
It does. Well, so back then I was having a nap every afternoon and getting up at 2, 3 in the morning for an hour and a half or so and reading the news and Facebook and going back to bed, and probably feeling quite tired most of the time. So now I don't nap anymore. I don't get up in the night anymore. I sleep incredibly well, so I have a lot
That's
more
amazing,
energy.
isn't it? Wow, that is brilliant. Just
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it is.
Fantastic.
Um, and so it's hard to answer that question precisely. I'm aware that I fill my time. I don't lie back on the bed and have a nap and fritter away time. I'm busy all the time.
Mm.
So I guess that's how I fill my
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just by decluttering the house,
yeah.
working, sorting out stuff, going for walks. I'm very mindful. This is partly the diabetes as well, or the pre-diabetes, which is now gone, but very mindful of doing steps every day. So yeah, I just do a lot more, Janey.
Yeah, but isn't that amazing? You know, you say that, all the pre-diabetes, which is now gone. How incredible is that? I mean, really,
Yeah,
because, most people in that situation, they're rocking up to a GP, they're told they've got pre-diabetes, they're just put on another medication, they don't really make
yeah,
any changes to their life, and then it just rolls into diabetes, and then off you go, you're
yeah,
on medication forever.
yeah,
Crazy,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so
I really
you
didn't want
actually
to do that.
took back control, which is just fantastic. I mean, it really is
Yeah.
huge.
Yes, I know, and I'm really pleased that I've done that, and I know that I look different. You know that I look
Yeah,
different.
you look
I've just,
completely different. It's amazing. You look so much younger, so much healthier. You've got a sense of
yeah,
vibrancy. It's really wonderful.
yes, that I do feel that I have that sense of vibrancy. I feel that my eyes are more widely
Mm.
open, and they're brighter, and I contribute more to, social interaction and work and everything. I've just been away, as I think you know, to South Africa, where I grew up, and visiting family and friends who hadn't seen me for a couple
Oh,
of
wow.
years. And I got so many unasked for compliments
Yeah, I
everywhere I
bet.
went about the change. So, I
Yeah,
know that I look different.
that's
And
fantastic.
I know that I'm faster, I move around more, I can lean over and do up shoelaces without puffing and panting. There's just so many little um, areas of improvement in my life.
Yeah. What about with relationships, with your your close relationships and family? I mean, let's be realistic, because everything is not always rainbows and bunnies. Were there any tricky bits? Were there any friends who found it difficult to accept the new
No,
Lynn?
no, not at all. Not at all. And I don't make a big thing about alcohol specifically. Everybody knows I've changed my
Mm,
life,
yeah.
including that. So I don't ever say, oh, I don't drink alcohol anymore ever. I just say that I'm not drinking
Yeah.
at the
Well,
moment.
you're
No,
taking
no,
care of yourself, aren't you?
yeah, yeah, and I think everybody understands that, especially at my age, I suppose. That's probably a benefit. I'm not sort of in my 40s anymore.
Mm.
But no, nobody's had a big deal. I think people have just said they're very proud of me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What other are there any other benefits that you feel have come from this, Lynn?
Oh, yes. Do you want the whole list?
Yeah, please give us the list.
Okay, so I've got psoriasis and it's all but gone. I've got a
Oh,
couple of patches
wow,
still, but
really?
nothing
How
like I had
interesting.
before.
Amazing.
I know my hair's better. I don't get cramp anymore. Now that may be that I'm having the magnesium that you recommended,
Yeah,
or it may be the alcohol, I
that's
don't
brilliant.
know.
Well, it will be a
Um,
combination.
yeah, so let's see. Um, right, obviously, there's some of this I've already discussed. Obviously, driving, I do most of the driving
Yeah.
now
So
when
that's
we've
that
been to a
fabulous
lunch or a
sense of
dinner.
freedom, isn't it? When you can
Freedom,
just get in the car.
exactly.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm in the church choir, and my voice often was, my throat and mouth were getting dry when I was singing, and sometimes the notes didn't come out. That stopped.
Oh, really? Oh, how
Yeah.
fantastic. So being sober makes you a
Um,
better singer. I love that. I love that strap
yeah.
line. That's
I'm
fantastic.
and all my bloods are absolutely fine, in terms of liver and all that good stuff. My blood pressure's gone down
Oh,
significantly.
wow,
I
really?
was
Wow.
over 150 or 160 all the time, and now I'm 120 something.
Amazing.
Um, I don't get dizzy. Sometimes I used to get dizzy when I stood up. That doesn't happen anymore. I think my eyes are better,
Yeah,
more hydrated. So I think that's
that's
probably my
amazing.
list. Will that do?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, most people, as they're getting older, they're giving a list of all the complaints that are getting worse. You're telling me all the things that are
Yeah,
getting better. That's
I
how
know.
fantastic this is. How amazing. That really is wonderful. And what was the response of your various doctors and medical professionals? Did you tell any of them that you had stopped drinking?
Yes, but I think you don't tend to see a doctor that regularly, do you? So,
No, I guess not.
I what I did do was that when I had the blood test at the end of January that showed up the pre-diabetes, and cholesterol was above the sort of minimum level that they like. So they did another blood test at the end of April,
Mm,
because I said that I was changing my diet at that point with
yeah.
alcohol. But by the time I got to the end of April, when the diabetes had just ticked below the threshold, and the cholesterol was still the same. So I then asked the doctor whether if I carried on, there was any chance of the cholesterol coming down further. And so we had a long chat about that. And the answer is, at my age, it's not that likely because the age is a big factor
Yeah.
in the formula that they use. But I did have another blood test at the end of August, and the cholesterol was down a bit. It probably isn't going to come down below the threshold, but it's not bad. But the pre-diabetes was way, way down. And I did that privately because the GP doesn't offer it regularly, but I will get one at the end of this year, and I will make sure the GP is aware of why it's happened.
Yeah, fantastic. Because,
But she did know. She did know
you
from the
did.
conversation
Yeah.
I had about cholesterol. So yeah,
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, we don't. It's unrealistic to expect our GPs to not be drinking and to be advising us. That's unrealistic. But even if they were just aware that when people
yeah,
do, when people do rock up and say, actually, I'm worried about my drinking, if they had an awareness of just how amazing people feel when they choose to stop, that would be a real help, wouldn't it? So, the more they're
yeah,
willing to acknowledge stories like yours, the better.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Cool. So, what's kind of next for you then, Lynn? Has being sober changed anything in your life? Have you found that it's meant that you've, I don't know, introduced something into your life that you'd been thinking about, or is it just that you feel you have more clarity with the stuff you're already doing?
Yeah, no, I don't think anything's particularly changed. I think I'm just calmer with everything. I think you may not recall, but I do have some family issues that are very
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah. And has it helped you
Not
deal
with my
with those?
husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm definitely less stressed and calmer in thinking them through than I was
Right.
before.
So
I mean,
that's a really interesting one because, when you've got confrontational, sort of difficult situations, particularly when it's family, you can't just walk away.
yeah,
It being sober is not going to change what's going on with our family members or loved ones, but it can help us to be more measured about our reaction, I suppose. Is that
yes,
what you found, that
exactly.
you're more able to be
Yes,
patient?
yes,
Yeah.
definitely, and to think things through calmly rather than emotionally. Yeah,
Yeah. And
for sure.
do you notice that they pick up on that different energy from you then?
Uh, no, the,
No.
the particular person who is the source of the problem um, is not at all sensitive to that sort of thing.
Right, right.
But this person makes life very difficult for us and for our son in relation to the grandchildren.
But at least
And
you're not making anything worse, are you? Because you're much
no,
more
and
measured. Yeah,
I think our response is measured, yes,
yeah,
definitely, and
yeah,
not sort of emotional or immediate anymore.
yeah. Fantastic. So, if anyone's listening to this, then Lynn, what would be your sort of top tip for them, really? Because there could be somebody in a very similar situation to you, where it kind of, pre-diabetic and wanting to lose weight and thinking that the answer is more medication and trying to diet and all the rest of it. What would your tip be?
Well, I think for me, what the way I feel now is not just that I've lost weight and look better, which I think is what I was
Exactly.
striving to achieve at the beginning. It's because the benefits are massive and cover so many aspects of my life.
Yeah.
So in terms of aspirational goals, it's much broader than just looking better and losing weight. Having said that, even you, Janey, couldn't have said to me a year ago, look, come on, Lynn, it's not just about the alcohol. You'll feel so much better. I believe you have to get into the right headspace before you start. And by the time I got to you at Champneys, I was in the right headspace in the sense that I was pretty desperate,
Mm.
as you so rightly said at the beginning of this discussion. And how do you get into the right headspace? That's hard to tell, but I think one of the ways is by perhaps joining Sober Club, reading about it, listening to
Mm. Mm.
podcasts, reading the Quit Lit. I found that quite helpful and quite fun
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
some of the books are great fun to read.
Yeah, it's
you
good
know,
to know you're not on your own with it all, isn't it? And you're
yes,
right,
yeah,
it is about getting in the right headspace. And I think one of the key aspects of that is just and I think what we kind of did to you over those 2 days at Champneys was we kind of, well, you know what we did, Lynn? We kind of love bombed you, actually. That's what we did. We love
I
bombed
know,
you. I think that's what it was, really. I think often
yeah,
people are in a space where they're not able, they're not finding it very easy to like themselves very much.
yeah,
And they even find it hard when other people want to show them any kind of care. So I think it's enabling. I suppose we just have to get to a place when we can recognise we're worth it. And that's quite tough, isn't
yes,
it? Particularly for women. I think we find
yeah.
that really hard.
Yes, yeah, I think that is true. And the longer you leave it, of course, the more habitual the habit becomes. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's it's to use the word habit in
Yeah.
one sentence, but you know what I mean. The
Yeah,
more habitual the
absolutely.
drinking becomes, and the harder it is to walk back from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know at the time you were quite critical with me of the way I chose to do it, but I chose to titrate down for a month first rather than walking off the cliff edge and going from all to nothing in one day. For me, that worked.
Yeah.
For
No, it
me, it
wasn't that. I
really
don't
did
think it was
work.
that I was critical. It was just that I've often seen it not work, but everyone has to do
Yeah,
what works for them. The thing is with
yeah,
you were very disciplined and
yeah,
you always had that sense of, I think probably you are, the kind of person who, when you set yourself a challenge or a goal, you really mean it and you really go for it.
yeah,
And I could see that. I could see that worked for you because you made that decision and you stuck to it. The danger with that, as I'm sure you recognise, particularly if you've listened to the podcast, lots of podcasts, is that there are lots of people who make those decisions and they set themselves these motivation, moderation goals, or they set themselves a period of time. And then there's a little switch in the brain that goes, well, there you go then. So I can do that now. I've been sober for however, a month, and I set myself a month. And now everything's good and I'll go back to drinking. You just see what I mean?
yeah.
So that's the
No, I do
danger with
appreciate
that.
that. I know, and I think what really helped for me, and I appreciate not everybody is able to do this, but I think having the one-on-one coaching with you
Mm.
after I'd met you at Champneys was very important because you kept saying to me, "Well, when are you going to stop altogether?" And I
Yeah.
was titrating down happily, but I hadn't. I kept pushing that decision into the long grass, and so eventually I said to you, "Okay, 2 weeks time," and
Mm.
so that had to be what happened because I told you I was going to do it.
Yeah.
So I think having the one-on-one coaching for anybody who is able to, I would highly recommend.
And that's very important what you've just said, right? So even though you were moderating and being very, very careful about your moderation, what we were trying to do certainly what I was trying to do at that point is help you to recognize that alcohol has zero benefits and even one glass is harmful, right? That's the message, isn't it? Even one glass is harmful. Let's not sugarcoat it. So yes, you were managing and you'd done really well and you did do fantastically well and you reduced down and you started to improve. But why continue having one? What could possibly be the point when even one glass is harmful and it has zero benefits? And when we could get you to that point, that's when you were
Yeah.
ready, right?
Well, no, I don't, I don't know that I really had embraced that even when I stopped altogether at the
It
beginning of
takes a
December.
while, doesn't it?
Because I suppose you don't want to believe it, or do you? I think that's the issue. But I knew that I had to stop for a while. I think that was all I really knew then. There were lots of reasons why I had to dwell a pause in drinking
Mm,
because I knew it was bad for me.
mm,
Um, I didn't embrace it being harmful with just one glass at that point. It was
mm.
just I've got to start somehow, and you
Yeah,
kicked me into starting. And I think the rest of the knowledge and understanding about harmfulness came later,
came later. Yeah.
especially as I started to see the benefits
Exactly.
physically and mentally in my own life, because then I wasn't reading about it or being told about it by you or anybody else.
You're
I was
experiencing it.
feeling
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
exactly that.
Yeah.
So once you had that motivation, because you could really see how much better you were
Yeah.
feeling. Yeah, it's so true. It's that thing I
Yeah.
always say about, it's the emotion, not the logic, that will inspire the action. So it doesn't matter how much you
Yeah.
know about. I mean, it's good to know. It's
Yeah.
really good to know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
really, you can know it till the cows come home. But you have to
Yeah.
actually feel it. You have to feel better. You have to feel hopeful. You have to have that sense of
Yes.
motivation. So
Yes.
how
So,
fantastic!
and I think I would say to anybody who hasn't started yet that to also, it's not going to happen overnight, because I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I think I did lose weight before I started thinking about diet and diabetes, but I think over a period of about 2.5 months, I'd lost 15 pounds. And that was inspiring. I wanted to lose more. But the other things like the psoriasis and energy and all that stuff, I think that came very gradually. And looking back,
Mm.
the weight loss was a pound, maybe a pound every week rather than a massive
Yeah.
weight loss, or maybe half a pound to a pound every week, but it was consistent. And then the other things, I mean, I've got this list that I wrote down of other things that were beneficial that were happening, and I kept adding to it, but that came in gradually over time.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
you have to not be impatient.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been drinking for years, I mean, I'm guessing for you, you might have even started drinking, in your teens or something, early
No,
20s.
not yeah, early 20s,
Early
yeah, and
20s.
working in an industry where drink was, quite
Did you?
quite often and quite heavy.
Right, right. So, that's a lot of years of drinking, right? And,
Oh yeah,
it's unrealistic, isn't it, really, for us to expect things to just turn around in a couple of, I know we always do. We're always very impatient, but we expect everything to change and expect ourselves to feel literally incredible within a couple of weeks.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if you've had years of doing something, it's going to take some time. It really is
yeah,
for everything to recalibrate.
yeah, and you kept saying that because I remember I kept saying to you, I'm not losing much weight yet, Janey, and
Yeah.
you kept saying it'll come, and I didn't really believe it at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Oh, Lynn, thanks ever so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. It's so inspirational. I think people will really appreciate just, hearing just the positive, the positivity there. It's great.
Oh, good.
Good
I hope
stuff.
so. As I say, I didn't really think that I had much to say, but I hope that you've thought it was worth it, Janey, and
Definitely,
everybody else too.
definitely. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a member of the
Okay.
Sober Club,
All
Lynn.
right.
And, we
Okay.
very much appreciate people who are willing to, stay part of the Sober Club. And, what you're doing by being part of it is, yeah, you get to read other people's messages and stuff, but also you get to give back as well. And there are people, as I say, coming up behind you and they read what you've written and that inspires them. So, yeah, it's a bit of a win-win. So thank you.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, nice to talk to you again, Janey.
And you.
Okay. Take care. Bye now. Bye.
Thank you, Lynn. Isn't that great? I love stories like that. Just, such a transformation in terms of health and mindset. Really, really powerful. Let's never underestimate the difference it makes to quit booze. I mean, really, just everything either gets better or it stays the same. Let's put it this way. It's not getting worse, right? So yeah, it's very exciting just to hear these stories. So obviously check out the Sober Club if you haven't already, thesoberclub.com. Doesn't matter if you're brand new to it all, maybe you're just thinking, I'm going to give it a go. And maybe you've been sober for years and years and years. There's still plenty of stuff for you. It'd be fantastic to see you at one of our events. Please book for one of the bookshop dates and or the Sober Club meetup on December the 2nd. And of course, Family Constellations, Sunday, 24th of November. Seeing you at one of those would be amazing. And just a word, I say this quite often, but for those people who are fairly early days, just honestly, if I had to sum it up in 2 words, it's keep going. Just keep going. They always say, don't they? It's one foot in front of the other. Just keep going, but keep focusing on everything you're gaining. In the Sober Club, there's been a couple of people who have already started to worry about Christmas and, the C word, and they're getting worried that their sobriety will get tripped up by well-meaning family friends or family members or friends. And it, I can't deny, your first Christmas sober, it's a thing for sure. It's different. We have to kind of put on a different identity. And we do have to give friends a heads up, give family a heads up. And, and we have to protect our sobriety at all costs. We have to protect our own energy and not let other people's stuff affect us. And that can be very hard if you're a people pleaser. And so many people who quit alcohol, they're people pleasers. They really are. Because they're kind and they're lovely people and they want to help others. But in so doing, it's easy to lose yourself. So if you've got that going on, even really early days, and the top tip is just keep reminding yourself you're doing this for you. You're doing it for you. It's you that matters here. And it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or says or does. It doesn't matter. It's not your problem. Give them a heads up. And by the way, if you don't want to go, you don't go. And do what feels good for you. And just do this for yourself, because you're the one that matters. You really are. And give yourself a massive hug. I should also mention we have got a webinar coming up on, I think it's the 3rd of December. So it's to be the night after our Sober Club Christmas meetup, 3rd of December. That's to be confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that's the date, about sobriety and purpose. And I'm going to be talking about what it might mean, what it might look like if you were thinking of working as becoming a sober coach, just what that might feel like for you. So come along if you, to that webinar. It's a free webinar, and I'll give you all the details. They'll all be there under events in the Sober Club. So if you've been thinking, actually, my life has changed and I would like to be able to support other people, or at least my family, I'd really like to be able to lay those foundations, then come along to that event and check it out. I do think it's fascinating that so many people, when they quit alcohol, they become resilient. They develop this positive mindset. They start to feel more brave. They start to feel like anything is possible. They find their purpose. They start to get this sense of, there's something else out there for me. It's super exciting. So if you're doing this, lots and lots and lots of huge hugs to you. Reach out if you need support at Janey Lee Grace, and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.